If you are tired of feeling like a doormat and constantly find yourself saying yes when really you want to be saying no, well, you've arrived at the right video, because in today's video, I'm going to share with you 5 actionable steps that can help move you from passive to assertive communication. Firstly, just a quick backstory. Now, I'm not a naturally assertive person. In fact, I'm a people pleaser and I hate confrontation. I'll never forget many years ago when I was still in high school, I had left my kit bag in the locker room and I was going to go play some sports. And I eventually came back and I realized when I got back that my watch was missing from my bag. And there was no one at that point around in the locker room. So there was no one I could ask. Anyway, fast forward a couple of days later and I saw a kid that was in my class wearing my watch. So I went up to him and I asked him, where did he get that watch from? And he told me that there was someone that sold him that watch just the day before. Now, whether or not he had taken my watch or whether or not that was a kid that had sold him that watch, I at that point didn't confront that person about it. I was not confident in my own abilities in order to express my opinions and tell that person very clearly that that is actually my watch that you've got on your wrist. Now, how many of you can relate to situations like that in your life? Well, many people struggle with assertive communication due to cultural or societal conditioning that tends to value politeness or deference over assertive communication. And I struggled with assertive communication with exerting my own opinions and confidence in my own abilities for the majority of my life. And very often what I would do is I would let others dictate the situation instead of actually expressing what was on my mind. Eventually it got to a stage where in my career, I was responsible for managing people. I had to deal with clients, and being a passive communicator was just not serving me. I had to learn how to become more assertive in my communication style. Assertive communication is definitely not aggressive communication because you are not using any form of intimidation in order to get your way. Assertive communication really means you have the confidence to assert your needs and your opinions and communicate effectively. It really is the only way to communicate, because when you are being an assertive communicator, you are clear and direct with expressing your needs. Okay, so let's talk about the 5 steps. The first step is to turn down your stress response, because when we are stressed, we are communicating in either a passive aggressive, or an aggressive way. And that means we're not thinking clearly or rationally. To lower the stress response, we need to use calming techniques such as deep breathing in order to regulate and calm down the nervous system. You can also distance yourself from that particular stressful situation and walk away from the situation and not respond to it in a heightened emotional state. For example, very often what I'll do is if I receive an email that really triggers me, I won't respond to it immediately, because I know whenever I've responded to an email in that way, I've always regretted it at a later stage. So what I do now is I walk away from it for half an hour, a day, however long it takes, in order to calm me down so that I can respond in an assertive way. The second step is to set boundaries. Boundaries determine what you will and will not accept from others. You need to clearly define your needs and know in yourself what you are willing to tolerate and what you will not tolerate. For example, if you are someone who wants to spend time with your family in the evenings, then working after hours, especially if your boss is dictating it, is really something that you're not going to want to do. And you have to be able to draw a line in the sand and communicate that boundary very clearly to your boss or your coworkers. An important point is that whenever you start to assert your boundaries, you are going to face resistance from other people. So you need to know that when you are setting those boundaries, that you communicate those boundaries very clearly to others around you. Remember, the only people that don't like the boundaries that you set are the people that are benefiting the most from you having none. The third step is to see it from the other person's point of view. If you are in a situation where the other person disagrees with you, well, take some time to really understand the other person's point of view and do it in a very rational way. You don't have to necessarily agree with them, but simply understanding them will help you to perhaps find some common ground so that you guys can move forward on. The fifth step is to pick a role model. Really, what this means is don't do it on your own. I'm sure there are people in your life that you know are really good at expressing their opinions clearly and rationally and doing that in a non-confrontational way. Well, look at the behaviors that they elicit. What are the things that they do? How are they speaking? What's their tonality? How are they communicating with the other person? How are they listening? Use the behaviors that those individuals are utilizing and start to model it and start to utilize those and really test and see what works for you and what doesn't work for you. And that's really a great way that I've found to start to find a way for you to become more assertive in your day-to-day life. Overall, the key to overcoming barriers to assertive communication is to build confidence in yourself and your ability to communicate effectively. With practice, you can learn how to express yourself confidently while respecting the needs of others. Let me know which one of those tips you are going to be implementing in your day to help you to become a more assertive communicator. If you did find any value in this video, please share it with someone that you think could benefit from it. Give it a like, and if you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.